everybody.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday.
Yeah, happy Thursday indeed.
I've found that that's kind of been my introduction lately is happy Thursday, which it always certainly is. But kind of a new exciting thing that we're going to premiere this week. Is that okay?
Yeah, why not?
We actually finally came up with a name for what we're doing here. So I never know what to call it, like a live cast or a video cast, or if somebody knows what this is called, then like hit me up. But otherwise, we're going to start calling the show The Night Bite. So to everybody out there tuning in, welcome to the first episode of The Night Bite. Do we have our comments on our screen here?
Yeah, we do somewhere.
So to those of you who are tuning in to see Jason Mitchell, there has been a very unfortunate double booking. So we got an email from him literally just an hour or two ago, and he realized that he had another engagement. So with the way that that goes, we pursue on. And so we will bring you Theo Toliver tonight, who is a very, very awesome person that we've met at shows and doing a lot of awesome things. And if you are looking for a good personality to be on a show, that is somebody who we're looking to.
Well, not to mention that he's a phenomenal walleye angler.
Yeah.
Makes me jealous.
So he's going to be joining us at about 7:30 because when you book somebody super last second, that's what happens is that you go with their availability also. So again, to those of you who are tuning in, hello and good to see all of you. Also, for the future of the show, if you guys ever want to see specific products, specific people, specific things that are going on, events that you know of, let us know about.
Put it in the comments, tonight. Like, we are working on our schedule for coming up here. So, who do you guys want to talk to? Who do you want to listen to? We can reach out to anybody. We just need names.
Yeah, that's hey Bill. Yeah.
Hey Bill.
Yeah. And again, especially I know events are coming up, tournaments are coming up. And so let us know what you guys know about that, because even if there's not large scale events, or maybe there perhaps is somewhere, we're looking to get out on the ice. And, Fish Donkey is a really, really great example. Certainly allowing for distancing, allowing for fishing your home waters. And we'll get back to that in a little bit, I guess. But a few other events that I have down here. We do have the IJO meet and greet January 30th. So if you guys are an ice junkie or not, come and be for the weekend. Because that's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're going to talk to Ryan Salemi coming up later in January, closer to the event. He has all the details about that. So he'll be telling us that. Oh,
and speaking of, Jason will be on the show.
Oh yeah.
He's just postponed. He just had to go to a later date. So we'll have him on. He'll just be further down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Other events that I do know about, I heard Party on Poygan is still going. So if you are in the central Wisconsin-ish area, January 30th, there's Party on Poygan going on. So a few things going on that weekend. The other thing is, like we were talking about with the Fish Donkey virtual tournaments, we should probably talk about, there's a few requirements if you are going to fish in one of those tournaments. So first of all, you would need to bring your cell phone, because that certainly is how you log it. I would urge you ahead of time to download the app. It is very user friendly. The first time that you log in, you got to put a few of your details, your name, your address, your phone number, whatever, and just in case you win a prize, they'll know where to send it to.
Yeah, and that's really the only time that you absolutely have to have internet connectivity is when you download the app. Otherwise, you can use it in the middle of the national forest and it'll work. Your entries will just be uploaded after you get back into service or Wi-Fi. So that's one of the cool things about the Fish Donkey app is it works everywhere.
It does. It does. I've, for 2 years now, fished in tournaments. The Women Angler of Minnesota, I believe it is. I'm sorry if I'm butchering But the Lady Angler tournament that's going on,
Ice Queen,
is exactly what it's called. Thank you. There is a crappie division. There is a walleye division. The biggest stringer of 10 is what's counted for each of those. And let me tell you what, the stringer crappies right now, the average is actually over 12 inches. So you want to talk about actually like a fun tournament to watch. Man, it's amazing, and there's still time left in the tournament. So see what people are going to catch. It is not just a tiny little tournament. Again, we were talking about things that you need, those to your phone and the app and yourself logged in, because that's what makes it easy. But then you do also need a bump board, and this is like dripping on me because we bring this on the ice and we use it. So you do need a bump board that has the lip, the bump. What do you call that? I don't know. But this part is what you need on that bump board to put that fish right up against it. They do ask for a closed mouth on the fish, that the mouth end is here, and then certainly it'll measure it all the way down. The other thing though, when we got this, if you can see like on the bottom here with the metric measurements, they're not marked in. You can't see them very well on camera. We actually had to paint this in with a magic marker with a Sharpie. Yeah. And that is a requirement, is that it is a contrasting measurement, and we, I believe it's 1/2 inches. At least that's what we have marked off on ours, is to the 1/2 inch. On the video, it really doesn't translate well, but when you put a fish actually on this bump board and you take the photo, you really even kind of could see those 1/4 inch increments. So this has always been deemed a valid tool for me in the tournament, and I imagine it would be for others. And again, you could do any color that you want as long as you can see. So if you want to do red, if you want to do like a silver Sharpie, something, that is up to you, and customize it. You won't get mixed up with your friends then. And I know that there's a lot of really fancy like metal ones out there. So you can get some super durable ones, and that's great. Yeah. So what's next? You had a whole list of stuff. What's next? Well, get fishing and get in that tournament, right? Yeah. Well, that's the problem, as it gets in your head. Speaking of fishing, I mean, we're still on the backwaters. I mean, the fishing's been really good back there. Still catching fish in 3 to 5 feet of water in the brush, right outside of the brush. I actually talked Emily into getting some minnows, and we were running our snare rods, and we had, a handful of bites on those towards dark. So that's, there you go, Jacob. Yeah. Well, the thing about this one though, Jacob, really quick, I will show you. You push down on it. Is that how it opens? I'm going the wrong way in the camera. Can you? That's 36 inches. So, I guess pike do get longer than that. But I mean, if you're catching pike this big, you give me a call. But yeah, we've been doing really well. People have been doing well on tip ups. We've been running our snare rods, doing really well in the shallow water yet. Went out and checked some lakes this week, and I'm seeing tire tracks and snowmobile tracks. You said you saw some hard houses out on Shawano Lake, so there was a ton of them, honestly. So I mean, we'll probably end up hitting some bigger water here coming soon. Well, and with that being said, though, I think it's a perfect time to talk really quick about, all the things going on social media right now. We're at a very weird place in the season, because like half the anglers that you hear about are in northern Minnesota with like 1 million inches of ice, and then half the people are in the south where they have nothing. But even beyond that, the weather patterns, on Facebook, you're seeing a lot of people, you got to be safe. And who is it that put that video out? Kyle Tyree, the Wisconsin fisherman. Look him up on YouTube. Does some great videos. He's one of our acquaintances in the fishing world. He runs a Razor. He runs Aquaview stuff. Great guy. And he actually had just a life-threatening incident lately, a couple days ago. Actually. Well, and he describes it very specifically and very honestly. And he says that him and his friend were riding, and they kind of knew that they should, on a snowmobile, too. And they knew that they should stop to be checking ice, but that there were parts of that lake that people were driving trucks on. So they just assume that if there's 10 inches in some places, it must be good enough in other places. And I think a lot of people are a little bit guilty of thinking that. But the thing about that is they got to a place along their path where they ended up coming in or falling in. And so it was it was a really crazy video to kind of hear his account about that. And
yeah, he has footage of him and his buddy getting lifted out in the airboat. They were able to grab some stuff. It's pretty nerve-wracking. And so, you know, even though, you know, you might have, like we've said previously, if you have 10 inches somewhere, 6 inches somewhere, right next to it could be 2 inches. You just never know.
Well, and hearing the personal account also of, you know, somebody who did need to be rescued and what that entailed, that they had, you know, an airboat that went out to go and get them. That was really interesting to hear. You know, the airboat broke through the ice and how that rescue continued. So really, really unique situation.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just realizing here that I need to send Theo an invite.
Well, that's what happens when you do something, you know, kind of last second.
So I'm just going to copy this here. So if I seem a little
distracted, that's okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Here's, in the meantime, the other things that we're doing this season, though. Josh was talking a little bit about the JT rods that we're using, you know, the snares all around, kind of seeking out fish and all of that. You know, that has been really fun. We're looking into some new cases for them because our current setup is just kind of iffy for our rod storage. So looking into some new options for that. But one of the things I've been super impressed with is actually my Powerbox. So I think we did kind of a little unboxing and we kind of had this on the show when we first got them. But Powered Up Milwaukee, Mark Torbett builds these. And let me tell you what, this has really been going awesome. We did put an amped battery inside of this. And so you can tell I'm like hanging out, holding this thing. It's very light. So it's not adding weight to, you know, my existing sled and everything that I'm carrying. It's been very easy to bring around. But the thing that I was really kind of concerned going in is just the durability of the unit. Because I know this is like an ammo can and that's durable and like all these pieces individually, I guess. But what happens when it hits the ice and when it gets icy? Because honestly, I leave my things kind of out. This all got snowed in. I was a little bit worried about, you know, the cup and the electronics and all of that. And I have to say, this is in really good working order. The other thing that I really liked about this, though, is that it allows me to use my other devices. And so we got out onto the ice one day and realized that our AquaView is dead. And that's fine, because I know a lot of people, I mean, we didn't have an AquaView our whole life, and so you can certainly get along without it. But the thing about it is, yeah, you can learn so much about, you know, what the fish are doing or how they're reacting, or sometimes even just that itty bitty bite that you can have the most sensitive rod in the world. And I've seen times where the camera is what let me catch that fish. And so to come out, have a dead AquaView, but then be able to connect it to my Powerbox has been a huge advantage for the whole year. In addition, you know, anything that I can plug into this, I mean, I can charge my phone, I can charge, you know, anything that goes into a USB. So aside from being really fun and pink, it's been a very nice tool.
Yeah. And so what I ordered for our stuff, we put a 19 amp hour battery in her ammo can. We had to custom order that one through Amazon. Since then, Mark Torbett has been offering different colors, but that's a 19 amp hour battery in there. That it looks like it's the same size case as the 6 or 7 amp hour batteries, but that's a 19 amp hour battery. I have a 19 amp hour in the hole hopper that I just started using. I'm on day 6 with it, and I haven't charged it. That's running a FLX 20. So I'm just gonna run it until it dies. I'll bring I keep the Hummingbird in the truck with my ammo can, and actually the ammo can that Mark Torbett uses for the regular ones he builds is a little bit wider than that, and I was able to fit a 32 amp hour battery in there, which is stunning. So I could hook that up to lights in a hub. We could hook up the AquaView to it. You know, you can hook up all kinds of stuff, plug your phones in. We could stay out on the ice and it would power everything. Wouldn't even have to run a generator, as long as it's 12 volt. But yeah, it's been a great thing. And I love those amp batteries.
Yep, it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So definitely look that up. Other things that we've been working on recently have been, for example, our Snowmobile.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was on the bay this 6 inches. Oh yeah.
That's crazy, Jacob.
Yeah. But we've been working on our Snowmobile.
Yep.
And because honestly, we've never been Snowmobile owners. So some of you out there are experts and some of you are in the same shoes as us. To be honest, I'm just recently learning that I'm going to have to take a course. So for those of you out there who are in the same shoes as me, make sure that you're looking up those different regulations. I know there's been a lot of chat online this year about quads and all the different transportation. There must be a seat per rider. And that's been a big thing. If I'm just the one that's telling you now, don't shoot the messenger. But make sure that the transportation that you have on the ice is, in compliance with what the regulations are, because you don't want to end your fishing day on a bad note like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, like I said, learned a lot about the Snowmobile, but in addition, installed our outdoor cargo system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were over at our friend and local body shop owner, Nathan Steikes. Yep. He owns NS Auto Body. Mm-hmm. We get our stuff fixed over there. He changes your oil for you. I'm too busy fishing. But he let us use the shop, and we were able to install that new outdoor cargo system on there. Pretty awesome unit. And we, there's a couple instances for some of the add-ons and stuff that we got. We had to drill holes and stuff, and man, it gave us a little bit of fight on that one, just because it was so sturdy. Like the stuff to drill through was sturdy, but it was an easy thing to put together, and pretty self-explanatory. And
the nice thing about it is now, right off the back bumper of the Snowmobile, we have like a nice platform. I don't want to say a huge platform because I don't want to talk it up, and but it is very compact, but it is a good amount of space that you can really pile things in. It's certainly bigger than the footprint of
it's about 26 inches. You can fit 2 milk crates side by side and in between the bars. And then there's the auger rack.
And
then we added on a spud holder, which you could lay anything across there, They come as kind of like 2 just
hooks.
And then we have 2 bucket holders that kind of sit on the side front of it.
But
that's
the nice
great.
thing, though, is that as far as a Snowmobile, it doesn't extend the width of the Snowmobile very wide. So if you are the kind of angler who is taking trails out to the lake, if you are going through narrow spots, you don't want to be bumping into things or losing things. And so this is a really secure option. It has a hitch right on it. So attach our sled kind of right there. And like Josh is saying, it's been a really sturdy unit. In hindsight, it's already powder painted, but I kind of wish we would have spray painted the yellow or something, crappy junction.
Maybe the next one, maybe the next sled.
But that's the thing about it, when you get a unit like that, it's meant to be like a great unit, versatile for anybody. But you can install it like how you want it. You can use it how you want it, or if we wanted to paint it, we could have.
And it does come with a quick disconnect option. So it only takes 4 bolts that are easily accessible to pop the rack off. So if you want to store it, you want to take some of that length of your Snowmobile down, that's an option. And it's not only great for fishing, but it's great for trail riding. You can throw a couple of backpacks and cinch them on there. You can, you could use the auger posts. If you're not using it to do your auger, you can set your helmets on there when you're stopped. There's a whole bunch of different cool things just for trail riding that it's outside of the angling portion of it. So I'm really excited to use that some more this year.
Yeah. I'm seeing a question. It says, you guys know a lot of accessories. Have you seen a flag system for your rod other than an iFish Pro or Tip Down? Just wondering. The
trip up system from Dangler.
Exactly.
That's my go-to. So as most of you know, or maybe you don't.
Do you have one of those like right here?
I'd have to go dig one out. I have. You can look them up there. It's called the Dangler. It's a rod holder, so it's not a tip down, but it's not a static rod holder. It just has a Velcro strap with a hook on it, and you just hook it onto the little arm, and your rod suspends. Yes, yeah. And your rod suspends by the hook, and so then when a fish hits it, it'll go down, and then if it lets it go, it'll go back to neutral. And then in addition to that, there's a little flag system that you can twist on to the hook, and then it runs it. I mean,
okay, so this is clear as mud. So what you ultimately have is, your ice, and then the Dangler is short. It's like a foot. And it is just it sticks right up. Some people feel like they want to pack ice around the bottom. We've never had a problem with it falling in a hole or getting taken or anything like that. So just off of that post that sets up right there, because again, it collapses all together at the end, so it fits in your tackle box and all of that. But right on that post is like a little arm, like Josh is saying. And so again, that rod sits at kind of a very neutral point. So, if you want to set that like a little bit heavier pointing up, if you're going to use that for a bigger fish, put a bigger minnow, get a pike.
They were asking about the flag.
Well, okay. So then you set your rod, and then there is a flag system that you attach on. And so ultimately it holds the line, and then when the line gets taken,
yep, it's a counterweight, and it makes a flag go up. Another one that works fairly well is the finicky fooler. I'm a fan of that one. That's another one that packs up pretty condensed. They've upgraded their rod holding system. And
again, you use your own rod.
And their trigger system, they've upgraded some of those things in the past couple of years. So that's a really cool system too. And both are pretty affordable. I think they're both under $30. So, and universal. You can use whatever rod you want in them.
If you are using something like the finicky fooler, if you are using that automatic hook setting feature, though, do make sure that that's something that is, again, like a regulation. That's
an add-on.
That could be an add-on.
So there's an add-on feature for the auto setter, but they do sell their base unit, which is just a flag system and a rod holder.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
What else we got?
Well, we're talking about, the flag systems and all of that. We've been using our tip-ups for pike this year. I know that when we talk to Theopolis, he'll be joining us probably pretty soon here. Mm-hmm. We've actually, in the past, been really successful using hot dogs for like pike and all of that. This year, I've noticed, especially we've kind of switched fishing spots. We've seen a lot more success.
Theo just said that he's on his way from work.
Nice.
So he'll be here in a bit.
We've seen a lot of people have a lot more success on minnows and shiners. And so I think one of the things to consider is the time of the year and what fish are actually eating. And so, at the end of the season, when we typically have our most luck with our hot dogs, it's right under the ice. And when those pike are cruising for that really easy meal, in winter, there is inevitably some die-off that happens. Mm-hmm. And so the pike go around and they eat a bunch of that. Maybe not all of it, but a bunch of it. And so if you can set your hot dog kind of where those other fish are, that's something that works for us. But I guess it's kind of early season. And so, there's still minnows about, there's still stuff kind of happening. Mm-hmm. Depending a lot on the weather, that can change that a lot.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of that has to do with us over here. We don't have a lot of ice thickness. We still have a lot of air to water contact. Some of these bodies of water haven't been sealed up yet. So they're pretty aggressive. Another question. 30 inches. Nice.
Oh, and on a dead minnow. Sometimes that's a really good point, because we're talking about hot dogs versus minnows. But, sometimes people just throw their dead minnows on the ice, or if you have one that just,
and I pick them.
Died. Yeah. Put that on your hook. Again, because, if you can like match the hatch or match the forge, whatever it is in that situation, if you're an easy bite, the fish are probably going to go for that. Mm-hmm. Especially in winter, they're looking for that easy bite.
But as far as our biggest pike this year, probably about that big.
We honestly honestly often don't measure them.
Well, and especially the backwaters, there's a lot of tip up fishermen back there, and we are just literally a rod and a Vexlar, and we're just punching holes. We're just going around, fishing around tip ups, talking with people. We're not really sitting in one spot. So tip ups are really hard to run when you're moving moving around that much. Kyle, what's your favorite rod action for jigging crappie through the ice? Well, that's a good question because Emily and I differ on this. So I'll let you go first.
Well, I mean, as far as rod action, I really, really prefer something ultralight. I think the question is if I have a spring bobber on my tip or not. And I think that really depends on the rod itself and I guess my setup. One of the things that Josh always laughs about though is I prefer a rod that is like significantly shorter than what most people are even comfortable looking at. Honestly, I get a lot of funny looks. I use something that's not much longer than a palm rod, but I love the drag system of a reel, and we make rods, and so that's something that we can make ourselves because you don't really find that much available on the market.
Yeah, I think the two rods that I built for you specifically, one was 16 inches and one was 18 inches.
Yeah.
And then you had 4 inches of spring bobber on it.
So. Well, and so a rod like that is quite a bit of backbone. And so I can't really speak to the action of that rod because, you do need to be able to fight a fish if you're really doing some decent fishing,
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, I have that spring bobber. But otherwise, I've also been using, I don't know, what is it, a 26 inch, 24 inch?
Mm-hmm.
It's not very long either, but it's a nice little rod. It's an ultralight. Where did we get our blank? I guess I don't even remember.
Bass King.
Yeah.
Yeah, you use the panfish noodle a lot. That's kind of a middle of the road.
And we've been really happy with our JT rod. So that's again even a longer rod than what I'm using. We have a 36.
Yeah. So as far as actions for me, I like fast action all the way around. Now whether that's a mag tape or glass blank, so that means that the butt section is really thick, and then it's really thick all the way up until the last 6-8 inches, and then it really thins down. Or I have the panfish handler. I've been using the 35 inch with a spring on it and hole hopping with that. And I've spent most of my life inside of a shack, and so 35 inch rod I was very skeptical. But now, being that we've been with Striker for so many years now, we've been outside. I haven't been using a shack. Just walking around and jigging with that rod this year, I've really come to like that one. That's a carbon rod, and that's compared to what I normally use, it's super fast action. But power's almost always ultralight if I'm running spoons or running little wraps and stuff. I'll run lights. Maybe a medium light if I'm in walleye territory, but
even for that, I'll sometimes go for a light.
Lights are good.
And then as far as inline or open face reel, you're saying that you use both. I'm really a fan of the open face.
Inline.
Josh likes to go back and forth. That's the funny thing though. We don't use a lot of the same equipment.
No.
We fish together all the time.
Completely different fishing styles too.
Yeah, but that's why we always talk about, what's right for one angler might not be right for another. And so to be able to find and look through what's right for you is what is super important.
Yeah. I mean, the inline reels are great because I end up using a lot of tungsten most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us do.
Yeah.
The one thing that we both do use, even if it's on an inline or a spinning reel, is we always run a swivel. I run the smallest swivel that you can possibly buy in the world. It's from Hatena. It's a number 28. It probably has an eyelet the same size as a number 4 tungsten. It's 20.
I couldn't even compare it to anything.
It's 20-pound test. I've broken them in half.
But not easily. That's the thing about it.
No, well, they're 20-pound tests. So, I mean, you can snap 20-pound tests with your hands. Same thing with the swivel, but it's an ultralight swivel. Like it's meant for fly fishing, essentially. But I use that in everything, and it keeps the twist out of everything. I use it summer, winter. It doesn't affect my line because it's so light. That's been really one of my main secrets that I've been trying to keep. So now I just spilled the beans. Now they're going to be sold out.
Now they're going to be sold out. That is a funny point about this year, though, is, so much of the tackle on the shelves, so much of what you normally go to and buy has been, hard to come by. Mm-hmm. With all of that's going on in the world right now, coronavirus and everything, there's a lot more people on the water. There's a lot more people trying ice fishing. And sometimes you head to the store and the things that you're looking for are not there. Or sometimes when you order online and it is maybe not available for a while. And that's definitely something that we've all been experiencing.
Yeah, but something that is available is these Widowmaker jigs. Those are available. Actually, I just saw they were showing a coupon that one of the stores were running, and people should get on that if you haven't seen it. Yeah, tungsten spoons. Yeah,
so if you're looking for that, definitely go and check out their Facebook page because I'm sure that it's posted there for Widowmaker. Mm-hmm. And actually, another kind of fun thing about Widowmaker, we have been using them. We've been trying to dabble in night fishing, and so we've been using their glow jigs and. That's been a really fun thing, again, with my Powerbox, and I have that little glow cup right there. And so every time you come up or go down, you can have your little glowed up little jig.
Yeah, I'll get to it, Mark.
Build an auto rod. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good rods out there. There's only so many that you can make. Josh is making a face because he's seeing in the little picture underneath that Theo Toliver is logging in. Looks like he's adjusting his camera and stuff. So,
what's up,
there. Dude? Hey, what's happening?
Not much. How's it going?
Good. Sorry, I was a little late here. I was kind of getting off work, so I was.
Well, hey, dude, sorry that we called you like this
an hour ago.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. So, one of the fun things actually about being together tonight, I've not even told Josh this story. At one of our first St. Paul expos that we went to, we ran into you.
Right, I remember that. So.
Yeah, but what was so fun about that is we had done just like some random videos at the show and stuff. Like we were so new into doing this, and honestly, I should tell you, like I was so inspired that you had even watched that and that you came to say hello. That's one of the things that like kept us going with all of this. It was just so fun to have that happen. So we love having you here, and we love bumping into you.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah, no, I've enjoy what you guys do. So you guys actually inspired me for some new stuff that I'm actually working on. So I'm trying to figure out a game plan how I want to do it, but then you guys will definitely know. So
as far as you got a lot of things going on right now, give us a few of your highlights.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, let's just start with the fishing stuff because it's a fishing podcast. Let's talk about that. Of course, kind of working with Fish Addiction TV a little bit there, so I'm kind of doing that. And then I have my podcast myself, called the Good Old Blast and Cast Podcast with my buddy Stefan Kolobakken. We actually came up with that idea kind of like it was just on the fly. We always wanted to kind of just dabble with the idea, and then one day we just said, let's just do it. So, and we're kind of like we're definitely in the beginning stages of stuff, a lot of learning process of what to do, what not to do, and so we actually might be transitioning over to doing a video version because I think we get more interaction that way, and we enjoy the interaction better than just have somebody. Because I'm sure you guys know if you put a podcast out there, you don't know who's listening. You really don't, other than people that download and comment and rate your stuff. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's cool. We like doing it, but we like fan interaction. We love talking to fans like right there on the spot. And one of our things that one of our, I'm going to say criticisms, but one of the things that a lot of people said to us is like, we feel like we're right there with you guys when we're talking. It's not like it's one of those podcasts where you're kind of like, it's not too professional, but it's not, totally trashy type of thing. And like, we feel like we're right there in a room with you guys. I so want to talk at the same time. So that kind of geared us to like, maybe we should just kind of go live. So we decided to just do that. So I got that going. Of course, I got my YouTube. I'm kind of slowed up a little bit on the YouTube thing. It's that's a whole different animal. Yourself and doing it's a whole different animal doing that. So we got that going. Of course, I got my Facebook page. I think I'm most active on my Facebook and my Instagram page. I'm starting to do like smaller clips, put stuff out there, a lot of fishing content. So I got that going. And then we'll go a little bit into my personal life where, I have my, I'm selling cars. I'm trying to build that brand on the side too. So building brands at the same time is two different genres is rather interesting. So you have to it's two different, audiences on that. So it's kind of getting, it's interesting. Some of it kind of seeps over a little bit, kind of intertwines with each other. It's working. So far it's working out great for me. So.
That's awesome.
And so also remind people, or maybe people don't even know, tell us what area of the nation are you? Where do you go fishing?
Yeah, so I live in Minot, North Dakota. So a lot of people, Minot, where's Minot? I get that a lot. Everybody says, where the hell is Minot at, right? So Minot, North Dakota is basically like north central North Dakota. So if you're familiar with North Dakota, I'm about, 45 minutes north of Lakes Sakakawea and Audubon. I am about 45 minutes south of the Canadian border. I'm like basically smack dab right in the middle. So basically, if you go 4 hours east, 4 hours west from Fargo, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So so I'm fishing here in North Dakota.
And so, I was going to say, so as far as all of those hunting and fishing opportunities, you're talking about your podcast that you're doing kind of both, you have a lot of opportunity for that around there. And that's really evidenced in kind of like all of your posts. I mean, gosh, all the big fish that you catch, it's like hard to not want to visit.
Right. Yeah. No, Minot, North Dakota, we're like smack dab in the middle of great fishing, great hunting opportunity. Like I always tell people, especially the new airmen that come up here, because a lot of time Minot gets a bad rap. Actually, Minot gets a really, really bad rap. So I'll kind of bring it back a little bit. Like, so there's a big major, like, the Minot Air Force Base, which is basically one of the major things that's up here. And before you even get orders up here to Minot, you're like, hey, you're going to Minot. You hear horror stories. Like it's the worst place on earth. You're going to freeze to death, which is half true. And, so we get all these horror stories, and everybody's dreading to come to Minot. But if you're an avid outdoorsman, this place is paradise to you. As long as if you can find a way to enjoy winter, and you're fine. Like I did, it's awesome. This is why I came back the second time I wanted to retire here. So it's weird because Minot gets a really, really bad rap just because it is kind of isolated. We don't have a whole lot of, I don't know, it's big. It's like 50,000 people here in town, and we have enough, but it gets old real quick, but if you're a pretty simple living, you can make do. But like I said, the fishing and hunting opportunities, you can go, I always tell everybody I come up here, dude, if you're into fishing and hunting, I tell all my brand new airmen I meet or brand new people, you can go an hour in any direction and you will find great hunting and great fishing. It just depends what you're looking for. If you go a little further, you can find even better. So we're right in smack. We go north, you go fishing. Go south, go fishing. East, west. There's great lakes all around us.
So, I mean, like, I guess with so many opportunities, it's hard to choose where to start. And I guess that in itself could be a whole topic. But I mean, I guess for myself, I'm not my expertise is crappies, like I can almost always find them. So like what are your tricks for finding walleye?
My trick for finding walleye, it varies from season to season, I guess, man, I start before I even get in the water. I look at, because North Dakota Game and Fish, they're very good about putting out information out there. So if you go to the website, you go to say, hey, you actually go to North Dakota Game and Fish, you click fishing and where to fish. And it'll give you options to how to look at these lakes. You can look at it by county, look at it by lake, and you click that, and it brings up a big, long list of lakes that we have. And each one of those lakes have lake contours, how to get there, stocking report, and netting report. And then and they go beyond the netting report, goes by average size length of the fish. It's pretty detailed information. So what I start off there. I'm like, oh, this lake has average of X amount for walleye to perch to pike, whatever it is. I'm like, oh, okay, let me look at the netting report. Let me see the stocking report. Okay, it's regularly stocked every year. Okay, cool. All right, let me see the netting report. Netting report looks good. How big was the biggest fish in the net? Oh, it's about 27, 28 inches. I'm like, okay, that seems like a good lake. So next thing I know, I go look at the lake contour map and look, okay, cool. Looks pretty decent, like, all right, sounds good. And then normally after that, depending, like, so ice fishing, I like to concentrate off points, deep points, or I start off shallow, actually, early ice, shallow water. That's just how I like to do. But it was weird for this year. Side note, Sakakawea, I started off in like 30 feet of water catching walleye, which is kind of odd. But actually, it's deeper now. It's like 37 feet is catching fish, but that's a different story. But, so that's how I kind of go. I study offline first, where I want to go, what lakes have what fish, the netting report, just break it down. Okay, cool. Good chances I'm going to catch some fish here. Then I go out to that lake and kind of see if there's even, a contour map. Sometimes I've been to a couple lakes recently where there's just nothing. It's just there. So you just kind of have to wing it,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically how I start from there. And then, I fish, I look for points, weeds, really honestly is just like the underwater structure. But if there's no structure, like many of the lakes here in North Dakota, like there's big sloughs, you try to find any deviation in depth, which is still hard to do. So you just kind of have to pick a spot and hope for the best, really. So.
And so, when you're doing that, I imagine that you're jigging. Do you have tip ups out? Do you cover water in specific ways?
Right. Yeah. So North Dakota, we have we can fish with 4 holes. So
nice.
Yeah. So normally it's 1 jigging rod and 3 dead sticks. So, and if I've ever been there like to cover ground, usually what I'll do is I'll pick a spot where I'm going to jig at, and then I'll set some lines in different depths, either going shallower or going deeper. And I have my dead sticks are usually just a split shot and a hook. I have my jigging rod, then I have 2 dead sticks with just a split shot and a hook. And then with those variations too, either 1 minnow or 2 minnows. And then my 4th hole is usually with some kind of like jig with the whole minnow on it. So yeah.
That's a fun way to do it, because I think a lot of times people get stuck in the mindset of like, what is the bait? And then, each of the different options get baited exactly the same. But when you can provide those different options like that, you can really hone in on not just what they're eating, but, what their preference is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really fun. And I like also hearing your persistence, if they're not biting or move around, maybe they're in 30 feet instead,
Yeah, well, I will give credit to my friends though, because I started normally. I was like, hey, yeah, I'll fish in 20 feet of water and go shallower. This was normally what happened to do. And I was like, man, I'm not catching or marking anything. Then I was like, hey, man, where you at here? How are you doing? Yeah, we're fishing in 37 feet of water. I'm like, how deep are you fishing? He's like 37 feet. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go out there and I found some deep water. I drilled a hole and dropped a jigging wrap down there, and boom, fish. I'm like, he wasn't lying to me. I'm like, all right. So moved all my gear up that way and started catching fish. So.
That's funny. That's awesome. So am I gathering that you prefer ice fishing over open water?
For the longest time, yes. Only because it both has its pros and cons. But now that I have a boat, I just recently got a boat like a couple years ago. And so ice fishing up to the point was my favorite, because I wasn't limited. I wasn't limited to waiting for a friend's boat or I just basically just short fishing for the quite longest time. Mm-hmm. But then when come ice fishing season, as soon as the ice got thick enough, I can move anywhere on the ice I wanted to go. And, and now I'm like, okay, cool. Now I can go to these certain places, but the fish act completely different though. But yeah, honestly, right now it's still up there. It's depending. Yeah, it's still up there. Ice fishing a little bit up there, only because I can take more friends with me. Ice fishing. I can have a lot more people versus, having like 2 or 3 people on a boat. So.
Well, the only reason that we have a boat is so I can scout for ice fishing.
Right.
I agree with you though, about, kind of being able to gather on the ice, because even if you spread out a little bit, you can't really have holes all on top of each other. The fish probably prefer spread out too, but, to be able to have people together. And that's why, before you joined us, we were talking about, ice fishing tournaments. If people know about any, let us know, because that is what's so fun about that, being on the ice with other people and kind of sharing the time and the things that you can learn from other anglers while you're out there.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially this year, being that we haven't got to hang out with a whole lot of people in one place, when you can be outside and be spread out, because I don't want to be fishing 6 feet away from you anyways.
Right.
Then that's a great opportunity to still have some interaction, but still be spread out. So it's great for ice fishing.
Yes, Kyle Agri says it from Eskimo Fishing. He says social fish thing. I can't say it. That makes sense. I'm like, yeah. Even still, we still keep each other distance anyway, except for in the ice house. But normally we know those people anyway. So
yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Well.
So you're talking a little bit about Eskimo. I like to ask people, what's their favorite like small company? What's your like little known product that you love that maybe not everyone knows about? Maybe that's a hard question. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess that'd be a hard question to answer, but I guess the little known company, he's well known, but he's little known. This guy named Dane Heed out of Bismarck. It's DH Custom Baits. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for quite some time since he started making this stuff. He's blown up. He makes great baits. He's out of Bismarck, and it was like I love using his baits because he's caught. See that fish right there on the wall, right there. Yeah, that's a 30-inch walleye from Lake Winnipeg, and I caught off a DH Custom bait. This is my biggest walleye to date, or at least through the ice to date, and and I caught it off that. And I guess that's my best small business is DH Customs for fishing wise. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That's awesome. So find him on Facebook or whatever. Something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, you can definitely find him on Facebook. DH Custom Baits. DH Custom. I know he has a website too. But if you go on Facebook, DH Customs, he makes some excellent baits out there. He can paint anything. He even made when I got married last year. My Brassard, what's those things called? Those boutonnieres, yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, there you go, boutonniere.
Boutonnieres, yeah. I never knew what they were called until my wife was like, "That's called boutonnieres." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was the name." I was like, "Huh." But he custom made some custom crankbaits for each one of my people that were in my bar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool too. So he can make anything. He does crazy work, and he's pretty well known now from everything. So he's doing great stuff. So
awesome. That's really cool. Besides that, what are your other favorites to take with you on the ice?
Oh man, of course I gotta get a shout out to all my Eskimo gear. So anything.
Do they have any new stuff this year?
Yeah, they have. I think so. I got 2 of the new products this year. Is a flip over. It's called the Eskimo Escape. I have the 2600, and it's just it's a flip over with the true side doors.
Oh,
right, yeah, and I love that thing because most ice houses you have to enter through the front, you're jumping over stuff, and it kind of alleviates all that. And everybody says, "Oh no, the Eskimo's copying on it," but no. If you look way back in the day, Eskimo was actually the first company to do that, but it never took off. Nobody liked it. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Now everybody likes it. I don't know. but definitely that all my Eskimo gear, and then I'm running the for my portable house my hub. I got the 650 XD Outbreak. This house is huge. I mean, it's huge with the full door. I mean, I had 2 6-foot tall people in my house, and they're full like this. I mean, it's pretty tall, 80 inches tall, and there's plenty of room for 4 or 5 dudes. And in fact, I think on Fish Addictions, episode 2, they went out and there was like 4 people in it, just fishing comfortably and plenty of room between the holes. Awesome.
Well, and that's really great to hear from somebody like you with that experience with these shacks, because Josh and I have been going in and dirty. We have a hub.
Josh and I. Not Josh.
Emily is becoming a shack collector.
Yeah.
And I don't even really use them that much, which is funny, but I do feel the need to get like a true flip over shack. And so I've really been looking at, the different options out there, been looking at Eskimo, been looking at a few more, but it is a little bit tricky to try to buy something when you're not sitting in it. Like it's making me miss the expos a little bit.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Even for us too, like, with Eskimo, like, it came out, but this year we couldn't have our Eskimo Pro Days, like Clammy and everybody all get together. We couldn't have it this year because of COVID.
Yep.
And so I didn't get any hands-on product other than like words and videos and online meetings we had and stuff like there. So I was just like, I don't know. I really do not know what this stuff is like. Everything looks good. I'm like, okay, cool. Even though I love Eskimo, but it was still like I don't know because we have to have our hands onto it.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I had to be in Fargo. I was in Fargo. They had their ice gear out like incredibly early, like really early. It was like September they had it stuff out, and I had an opportunity to sit in one. I was like, oh yeah, I like this, and definitely get one of these. And I fished mainly a lot with my wife, and she loved it too. She actually likes it better than the hub actually, because it's just me and her, and it's just we're right there. There's plenty of room. It's warm, and the assembly was rather tricky, but anyway, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
So it was easy once I got going and everything like that. But but yeah, it did play a little bit I was worried about a lot of products this year. I wanted to try just because it was hard to get hands on. Like how do we know? We just got to trust and do it, and
And not to just like jump topics really fast, but we have a question here. So what kind of rod setup do you use for hole hopping? Just tell us about your setup.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good question. So for my jigging rod, I like medium light rods, medium lights to light rods, depending what I'm doing, but mostly my dead sticks, like I like to call them, are about medium weight. Because the dead sticks and a lot of times pikes hit them, so I need a little bit more backing on them. So a lot of times they're all medium to medium lightweights. And for pound tech, like for anything, it's weird. So ice fishing, I love using mono. That's just like my favorite thing. Like braid's okay if you're inside. That's just my personal opinion about it. Yep. So I run anywhere between for my dead sticks and jigging 5 to 8 pound test, depending what it is. On my tip ups, if I do run a tip up, like my iFish Pro tip up on the rods, I'd like to use a 10 pound test. It's kind of like what I run, but if I'm jigging, depending what I'm doing, fluorocarbon leader, but yeah, that's kind of like how my dead sticks are set up. So,
what kind of reel are you using on your dead sticks?
I'm using 13 Fishing Wicked Ice reels. That's what kind of using. So, yep.
Awesome.
Yep, and then my jigging rods depends what I'm fishing for. If it's panfish, my free falls, my 13 Fishing free falls, I love those. But yeah, mainly 13 Fishing is what I'm using. So
that's awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome. We've been kind of switching up some of our reels recently, and so I'm just getting stock in what people are doing. And
yeah, there's a lot of great stuff out there. So
we threw in some bait
feeder reels.
Bait feeder reels.
Yeah. How are those?
Into the mix,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the CMARs, and it's a little bit of it's like running a tip up. So when you pick a tip up and you have to like the line's coming out of it, so you have to kind of like pick it up slow and set it down, and then you have to make sure you have tension on the fish and then set the hook. You can't. You want to go your initial reaction because you have your dead stick in a rod holder. You want to go over there and set the hook, but because it has a bait feeder on it, it's free spool basically. So you set the hook and then all the line comes out. So you have to remember to turn it off and then set the hook. So it's kind of like a tip up in that way. Yeah. Which, if you think about it, I mean that's essentially what it is. It's just a tip up in a rod form. Is what that reel turns into. So,
okay.
I think it'll be really good for the application. It's good. I view it as a rod insurance because if we're using the $130 rods, I'd rather miss a fish because I forget to turn the bait feeder off. But that fish was running. We're fishing crappies, but anything will hit a little crappie minnow.
Right.
And I'd hate to see my $130 rod go in the hole. I'd rather just pull out a bunch of line.
Yeah. I wish they had came out a couple years ago. I still have it, but my snare rod. My first experience with the snare rod. So
yeah.
Of course, a pike came and hit it, and I almost lost that one. So yeah, I ran so fast on the ice before. I was like, oh my god, I ran off.
Yeah, I had one. We didn't have enough rod holders, so I set one on the ice, but we were fishing in some brush, and so I set my rod in kind of in the crotch of a tree, and all of a sudden I hear reet, and I'm like, what is that noise? All of a sudden, luckily it was a rod that I built, so it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if I lost it. But it was halfway down the hole.
Oh no!
And that line, that bait feeder worked. It was pulling line out. That was that sound I heard.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my rod would have been gone down the hole.
Oh man. Yeah, not good.
It is a funny thing to get used to at first, though, because, when it comes to fishing, when it comes to that rod, you're so excited to set it. You have that motion of just doing it like what you've always done before and, running to grab that rod. And it's a very strange moment to, get there and breathe.
Yeah. Right, yeah. It's like, oh, you're like, okay, calm down. Okay, here we go. Yeah. It takes a couple times to catch a fish, actually. Okay, cool. Here we go. All right, cool. And then do it because you're so worried about losing the fish. I'm like, you knee-jerk reaction, but in reality, that fish is already on there. You just gotta breathe and then take it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, those CMARs, they're solid reels for sure.
Nice. Okay, sounds good. All right. Mm-hmm.
As far as the rest of the winter, what are you looking forward to most?
You know, I was kind of looking forward, towards Canada this year, but I don't think that's happening. Unfortunately, it's already, even if it does open up, it's already past that planning stage to go up there, unless I just go up there on a whim and do it. But I'm looking forward to more to that March Madness. when the fish are starting to really, really heat up.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for. I'm already exploring new lakes I've never been on before. I've been on a lot more lakes that my every goal of my my ice fishing season is to fish lakes I've never been before. I'm already breaking that record already. I already been to 3 or 4 different lakes I haven't been before, and I'm gonna keep continuing to do that. Yeah. And if I chase other species, absolutely. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to March, the end of that late ice, that good bite there. So, oh yeah.
And then I guess my last question for you, for people who maybe haven't started following you, remind us where and how people can get a hold of the information that you're putting out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put it out there. If you guys want any information other than my GPS coordinates where I'm at, yeah, hit me up. I answer a lot of questions. I'm more than happy to give you guys information, especially tips on what I'm doing and what I did that day, or how did I catch that fish. You guys can find me at Theo Toliver Fishing on Facebook. Or Theo Toliver. I just changed it recently. Theo Toliver Fishing on Instagram. Nice. And then on YouTube, I have some videos out there on YouTube. It's called Theo Toliver Fishing on YouTube. So it's all at YouTube. It's just find that, Or if you want to send me a friend request at Theopolis Toliver on Facebook, TheoPollis Toliver.com. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, and then hopefully we'll be seeing you at shows next year. Hopefully some of that starts rolling, and otherwise,
thank you so much for
even though super last minute, I was like, I want to get on there. So I was like,
cool, awesome. Well, maybe we can touch base closer to the end of the season and get a little bit of where you're at then.
Yeah. So is this on Facebook Live right now, or is it like?
It is, and it's on YouTube.
Oh, that's cool. All right, I gotta figure that out. I'm still trying to figure that part out. You think I would have figured it out by now? I'm like, God, that's actually a good idea. I'm like, so. And I like how when you asked that question, it popped up right there. That was cool. That was neat.
We can chat.
We'll show you how to do that later.
Yeah, are you guys on a laptop too?
No, we're in our studio.
So what kind of camera you guys got going on there? Yeah, this is my question time to you guys. All right.
Okay, that's a hard question though, because we even just got a new camera for Christmas, so I don't even.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what kind it is.
Okay, no, I'm like trying to read it and it's like very difficult.
Honestly, it's just a wide angle. It's a 120 degree camera.
Okay. Yeah.
And then OBS software on the background, so we can adjust the frame.
Ah, okay, yeah. I need to get that technology, because right now anything I use is just my phone and my GoPro or wherever else.
All right, dude. Well, hit us up later, and we'll chat all about that.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. So,
no problem. Thanks, dude. Have a great night.
Good tie lines, everybody.
Yeah. All right, that was awesome.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody else for being here as well. Kind of a long night tonight. Kind of covered a lot of ground, but I'm looking forward to going out and catching some walleyes after that.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're not doing that this weekend. We're looking for crappies.
Oh, we might.
We might do that.
I don't know. We don't do that. But next week we're switching gears back to a little bit of
product talk. Yeah,
product talk. So we'll have some hands-on stuff. I got a really neat thing to go with your drill auger.
So we're talking with deep freeze.
Yeah. So cool stuff coming up next week. A little product talk, and then we'll figure out where we're going from there.
Can't wait to see.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night. Sorry about the confusion.
And see you all next week.